May the words of my mouth and the meditation of mine heart be acceptable in Yahavah's sight. He is our strength and our Redeemer, and it is in His name, which is His authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect tonight's message. Aman. Hola, mi nombre es Kofi. ¿Cómo está? Bonjour, Kofi. Ça va? Ni hao, namaste. Hola, yana kitabuya, ahayo, I see you, manut, wagwan, kamsa, kamsamida, aloha, ciao, onson, privet, habarigani, Aquaba, Madaase, Itise, Jambo, Bimini Kofi, and the Fra Kukutana and the Weiwei, Boker To, I'm sorry, excuse me, Layaltav, or Layalatav Tov, or greetings. Hopefully your evening is well, or wherever you are, whatever time of day it is. Thank you for being on. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us again. As always, we give our honor and praise to the Most High. We give our praise and honor to Him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that is able to be honored. As always, you can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A-N-D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. Toda my shapachin, toda, bishkapa. Thank you, family, for being on. Gracias, familia, etc., etc. Thank you so much. Thank you for the agreement, family. Ashe. Familia, yes, familia in Kiswahili is the original way of saying familia. Thank you, everybody, for being on. We appreciate you so very, very much. We're going to go ahead, pretty much jump into stuff tonight because we actually have our meeting as a reminder at the top of the hour. If you're able to join on Zoom, if you would like to help in things behind the scenes and be part of project management meetings, we will have our project management meeting at 9 p.m. New York time. It'll be every Monday. And even though we will not have the live session tomorrow, we will have our next set of grafting sessions if you would like to join on Zoom for those at 9 p.m. every Tuesday and Thursday for the next 3 weeks. For the children, we will have Kung Fu at least started on Wednesday. I'm not sure if French will start this week or not. If it does, it will start tomorrow. Thank you once again. We appreciate you all. We're going to go ahead and get ready to get started. Once again, just as a reminder, top of the hour, 9 p.m. New York time, if you can join us and be ready for the project management meeting. For those who would like to attend, we will put all that information, including the link and everything, in the Google Calendar invite and send it out. And please, man, please serve over these next few days. Feel free to fill out the sheets that you'll see, the virtual sheets to fill out, so we can redo our information for everybody that we have on file. I'm on. All right. So praise Yah. So once again, meeting tonight, 9 p.m. New York time on Zoom. If you're able to join us for a project management meeting, therefore we can start talking about things we need help with and who can help with what behind the scenes. And we will send that link out again. Appreciate you all. Thank you for being on. How's everybody doing? We'll get ready to rise to our feet, say our Bible pledge, and jump right in because we don't have that much time. So if you're able to rise to your feet or reverence the word however you can, thank you for doing so in advance. How you doing? Beck, Keith, Hidden, Auntie Marion, Brother Roddy, I don't know why I'm clapping. Angela, Deborah, who did I miss on here? Big Brother Thomas, Brother Omar, Double OG, Triple OG, Big Brother Charles, how you doing? Lori, Antoine, Danny, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Everybody, thank you so much for being on. How you doing, Sister Tia? Praise Yah for you. Hopefully all is well, and hopefully everything's well. I mean, you put it on a public message, but, I don't know what the message is about, obviously. But I'm praying for you. Saw the message about trying to hold it together. sometimes it be like that. So I heard you. I started praying. Hopefully all is well. Hopefully all is well with you and our brother down south, so to speak. Hey, man, how you doing? Shalom to the Honorable Maya once again. Thank you, babe. Love you. Thank you for being on. We appreciate you all. All right, so we're going to get started once again. Meeting at the top of the hour, so we got to be finished a little bit after 8:30 p.m. New York time, so I don't have that much time left. Let's go ahead and jump right in. How you doing, Brother Dwayne? Just Life? All right, got you covered. Praise Yah. I'm on. If you ever need to talk or need to reach out to us, we're here. We're family. How you doing, Brother Darius? All right, let's go ahead and say our Bible pledge and jump right in. This is my Bible. This is my sword. In this will I trust, for Yahavah is Lord. No sword of God shall ever be heard, for this is my Bible, and this is Yah's word. Ad Shem Yahavah, His name is authority. Let it be done unto us. You may be seated to go right back to what you're doing in the presence of the Most High. Shalom, Shalom Mishkapat. How you doing, Sister Sherry? All right. So tonight, real quick, we're going to ask a question. Have you heard of Charlie Kirk lately? And believe it or not, this is not going to be as Charlie Kirk centric as one might think. But have you heard of Charlie Kirk lately? In other words, have you heard him mentioned really? You hear him mentioned from time to time, but have you heard him mentioned, especially in the way that all of a sudden he got mentioned when he needed to become the martyr, and supposedly it was a bigger solution to problems for humanity than Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and others? The answer is straight up no, right? You haven't really probably heard about him, right? He kind of seems to be forgotten. Matter of fact, if you've heard anything, you probably heard rumors about his wife and allegedly how Republicans are going to try to take Vance, right? JD Vance, and take his wife and basically separate, get her away and see if they can throw her in there. Because as many persons are used when they get into the political atmosphere or aspects of things, they're usually just used for whatever can be. They're milk dry. And once they're milk dry, they pretty much get thrown out. Salah. Right, that's a salah from the beginning. How you doing, Brother Alex? How you doing, Cole? How you doing, Sister Monique? Hopefully all is well and working out with new things on the horizon. We praise Yah for you. I'm not sure. I think you talked to Elder Maya about it a couple days ago or something. So hopefully all is well. Appreciate you coming on and making time for us. All righty. So how you doing, Middle Lane? Blessings to you, Barak. All right. So when we speak on these things, once again, have you heard? How you doing, Minister Smaila? Have you heard of Charlie Kirk lately? The answer is no, because as much effort and all the stuff that he did to put into making sure that white supremacy, racism, white supremacy could exist, at the end of the day, he was a prop. And when it comes to evil, you must recognize that the devil will build you up so that you can be used for his desires and his glory. And once he's done with you, boom. Right? How you doing, Freedom B07? All right, welcome. Right? So I say that because it's a warning. It's a warning to us about those that are around us. It's a warning to those who get too deep into politics. Because, by the way, one could say the same thing about, have you heard anything from Jill Biden lately? Right? One could say, have you really heard, what have you heard lately from the one who called himself Jazzy? Was it Jazzy J? I'm about to get my card taken away. Run DMC. You got I'm sorry, I'm having a moment. The one that got shot, right? And everybody said this and that. Persons will bring up all these things that happened. RIP this person, RIP that person. But did they really care about the person? And question is, what we do, does it last? Now, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I have to make that very clear, because at the end of the day, both of them are detrimental to my people. And when I even say detrimental to my people, thank you, Jam Master J. Appreciate it. Also, Jam Master J, I was talking about, that was the same name that the guy who was marching around with troops with black guys during, and I'm not saying bad or whatever, I'm just saying he was doing it as a matter of fact. He was walking around with the black group and he messed around, didn't know what he was supposed to be doing by law, to be honest, but he got messed around, got arrested, and you haven't heard anything from him. You haven't seen any free Jam Master J's thing, but everybody wanted to say, see, he was standing up for us. You got to be careful, because persons will use you with the quickness and then leave you with the same quickness. So what you have to do, and what we have to do, we have to put together. How you doing, One Who Whispers? What we're putting together, it must last, and it must last past a fad. It must last past, the latest trend. If you're doing something because it's trendy, if you're doing something because you think, okay, well, maybe that's all Kirk wanted, but Kirk is now tossed to the side, and allegedly, quite possibly, his wife is ready to go ahead and toss him to the side as well. Now, I'm gonna leave that alone, because that's not really my business. I don't want to be too disrespectful, and even though the man has passed away, well, we'll still tell the truth about him, but there's some things that we should still be respectful for. We don't have to be just like anybody else because they get disrespectful, right? But we have to realize and recognize that if we don't do it for Yah, it's not going to last. Have you heard of Charlie Kirk lately? When's the last time you've heard anything about Charlie Kirk other than him being a punchline, or other than somebody just trying to say he was assassinated? We need to get back together. I mean, he was used to try and see if he could take more weapons away. If you didn't know, since the person that supposedly shot him is supposedly trans, that means that therefore we should take weapons away from anybody who's trans. But NRA can still be all over the place. And NRA basically means you might as well be NWA and not N-words with attitude. It should make sure that you not having a weapon unless you're white American. Right? I tried to become NRA a long time ago. Right? So we're having this discussion about all these things, and you must recognize, don't get caught up on the trends. Don't get caught up on the stuff that's like right there, the stuff, oh, okay, this is going to be the thing that matters so much. So many fads, so many trends. This matters so much. We got to make sure we win this. If we don't get this bill to do, if we don't get this thing to there, how many of those things actually last? It's one of the things in so-called American history that you have to look at with a refined lens. Right? How many things are the things that last, and how many things that actually last are the things that they keep your attention away? See, Charlie Kirk was there to keep your attention away from certain things long enough, but now Epstein files are right back. Right now, persons can't eat, it's right back. Now, what's morality is right back. And by the way, even though Charlie Kirk was racist, and for sure was racist, it doesn't mean that questioning morality was wrong. How you doing, Bruder Richard? And thank y'all for the love. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate you on all the different platforms. That's right. Trends fade. The word of Yah remains forever. This is one of the reasons you have to be careful about politics, because if it's not kingdom politics, and we talking about our kingdom, right? But if it's not kingdom politics, no buts. If it's not kingdom politics, it's not lasting anyways. So we need to learn how to see what's going on, call out certain things for what they are, for when they are, right? But not allow certain things to take us away from our eternal destination and what Yah wants us to do. How you doing, Sister Mignon? Right? We must be careful, right? Charlie Kirk took over and seemed like he wasn't going to go anywhere for a long time. He was about to beat MLK. That's what everybody said. How many of you know his born day? How many of you who supported or didn't support him, right, and yelled and fussed every day for 3-4 weeks straight? If it even lasted that long. I don't think it lasted that long. I think it was about 2.5 weeks before everybody finally said, okay, enough is enough. We need to find something else to get our attention off of, a whole bunch of refugees coming in who don't look like you and I, and then they go ahead and let them come in, right? And things of that nature. And, persons not being able to eat, persons starving, and military personnel not being fed, and, things like that. I remember what it was to be in the military and to not get paid a couple of times, and especially as a person low on the totem pole with a family, it sucks. Forgive my language. I know some people say pastors aren't supposed to say SUC, you know what, but it didn't feel great, especially when you're supposed to be representing your country and put your life on the line, right? But persons have been doing that. Persons haven't been getting paid for TSA. By the way, we're thankful that those of you who are in TSA and those of you who work for the federal government, at least most of you, seem to have been able to get back on track as far as work and things of that nature. So we're thankful and grateful for that. Prayerfully, we'll continue to do what we need to do so that next time you don't get stuck in that. But Charlie Kirk, just like many of these other things, is a distraction. They send in the Charlie Kirks. They send in the Candace Owens. They send in and they'll replace them, just like they replaced Charlie Kirk. So now you got persons that, and by the way, they can be more brash than Charlie Kirk was, right? What's his name? Tucker? I don't know his first name. Something Tucker and Nick Fuentes have now tag team. Nick Fuentes was around for a minute, and Tucker's been around for a really, really long time. Wasn't he Fox News? Is he still Fox News? Didn't get fired from Fox News? But they still support him because he supports racism, white supremacy. But yeah, we have all these different things. You had a Rush Limbaugh at one point. Carson Tucker or Tucker Carlson. That's what it is. Tucker Carlson. Thank you. But you have all these persons that'll be put in there. Nick Fuentes is outright just says the N-word on any social media platform he's on. They take down his stuff? Of course not. Right? And he's going to be used. This is going to be the next level, right? The next level of saying it's okay to be pro-white. It's okay to be anti-black. He said he is racist. He's made it a point to say the N-word several times. He's made it a point to call out. By the way, you got to pay attention to him too. These new Charlie Kirk's and stuff, pay attention at least to rhetoric. Charlie Kirk's come and go. Rush Limbaugh's come and go, right? I know you're not going to like me putting this name out there. JFK is come and go, but you're going to see, and no shade to what happened to him, just saying they come and go. That being said, the rhetoric is the same, but now it gets to be outright. And sometimes they have to hide it for a little bit, but now it gets to come back. So now calling somebody an N-word in the street, saying that we should bring slavery back, right? Telling persons, and by the way, getting persons who not all skin folk or kin folks, so persons who might look similar to me in different fashions, especially in color, right? Because that's what persons pay attention to. Getting them to say, hey, we should go back to Jim Crow, because the way Black persons were treated in Jim Crow was actually when we were more in line with what supposedly what they say, what God wanted for the United States Corporation. Right? Don't pay attention to the persons that they're throwing up in front of you. There's going to be a new one every year. There's going to be a new one every day. There's going to be a new one every month. There's going to be new ones every year, right? But some of the ones that are lasting a long time is just because they've learned how to, in different ways, show up over and over again. They take breaks, they leave, and then they come back, right? Candace Owens has been around for a little while, right? Because she keeps reinventing herself. First of all, Candace Owens, she was somebody who was anti-Trump, got the money, became pro-Trump, right? Got some more money for being pro-Trump, got some more money for having children with the people who were pro-Trump, right? Got some money for making sure she was with Kanye. And then what you have to realize now is pay attention to what they're doing. They start to merge the sides together. So here's another one. I'm sorry for not knowing these names because I don't be paying attention as much as maybe I should. I make sure that I get the gist of it so I can be aware of what's going on. Is it Marjorie Taylor Greene or Marjorie Greene Taylor? It's Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Now all of a sudden she's America First. And America First was always low key. And she was always America First, but America First was supposed to be underneath Make America Great Again. She has now since left Donald Trump. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, even though she was just calling the Black woman on Congress all kinds of racist names and basically insinuating she had a weave and stuff. Y'all remember that? That was the Black woman that fought back and said she was a whatever body B, or she didn't use the B word, but almost did. For those of you who know Jonah and know how to play the dozens, you knew what she was saying, right? But she was out there saying that Black people weren't doing what they were supposed to do. She was saying, I support Trump 100% on his promises, which his promises here were not even low key, were high key to make sure that you got rid of DEIs and all that stuff. She was down for all this. Now, all of a sudden, persons can't vote. And now everybody on the Republican and Democrat side is leading up. They're testing to see if you'll vote for her. Now, once again, we don't vote. It's not a big deal for me. I'm sorry, what you said, New York mayor went to Israel and said he belongs to them. Just let him keep his title. Okay, I didn't see that part. I had to research that, right? But that's crazy if it did happen, But all these different things that are going on, right? And now Marjorie Taylor Greene, this and that or whatever. It's like, but not too long ago, you was making fun of so-called Black women. Not too long ago, you didn't care about so-called Black children. Not too long ago, it was about Jesus and you were Christian nationalists. And you still were up here talking about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, mentioning him real quick just to make sure that Republicans know you're not getting too far away. You're saying you vote to make sure that the Epstein stuff has to be released. It's not really released, but the Epstein estate has to release certain things so that you can start reading about all these weird, sick, disgusting things that everybody already knows happened to a certain extent. And then that, right? But while that's going on and you're making sure you apologize and saying you're sorry for the things that you said, you were the person that put your so-called country in the predicament they're in. And once they finish using her, they'll put somebody else up and somebody else. It's like the military, right? Where they say that they love us and they care for us and stuff, right? But they put us through the meat grinder if you let them. And they won't take care of us once we need help from the VA. Right? Have you heard of Charlie Kirk lately? No, because once these persons get used up, they don't care. They're on to the next one. So we need to not focus even so much on the person, but the principle. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. We need to not worry so much about the person, but we need to look at their acts, right? Actions speak louder than words. We need not so much to see what they're calling themselves, if they're Republican, Democrat, or if they're in some gray area, or I guess whatever. What do you get when you put red and blue? Is it purple? I don't know, right? But not when they're in whatever thing in between red and blue. We need to say, no matter what color you represent, and I'm talking about right or left. No matter if you're on the right or the left or down the middle, if you're part of the same beast, it doesn't matter. We keep allowing persons to go ahead and play this game, and we keep allowing ourselves to get off track. Right. By the way, I'm with everybody. I've seen the stuff. I've seen the things posted. I've talked about it before. Everybody's like, we're not going to Walmart. We're not going to Target. We're not doing anything for Thanksgiving. Blah, blah. You should have never been doing anything for Thanksgiving. If we focus on the word, why would we be worried about it anyways? Why are you buying stuff for Thanksgiving? Why are you buying stuff on Black Friday sale? Why are you buying stuff for Christmas? That shouldn't even be what we're doing. We're focused on Walmart. We're focused on Target. We're focused on this. But if we focus on the word, we shouldn't be part of that anyways. Why not build up your own community? You got persons that make clothes. You have multiple persons that do clothes, multiple persons that do food, multiple persons that do jewelry, multiple persons that can help you with legal issues. You have multiple persons with stuff on social media, multiple persons writing books in-house. I mean, we could build our community overnight. We talked about this before. I'm not saying I'm even pushing for this, because at the end of the day, I'm starting to realize and recognize those who will do or those who will do. And I'm not even trying to get on anybody. I'm saying, as far as Yah has to prick your heart. Hear what I'm saying, though, right? And all these things that I'm saying, hear this, beloved, hear this and get this and catch this, receive it. Prayerfully you do. We're at a point to where a person's really wanting to make a change, $1 a day. So talking about, and I'm not even mad at it. I'm just saying, if we want true change, $1 a day. If you had 1,000 persons do $1 a day, if you had, didn't we do the math on this? I forget what the number was that we settled on. But if you had, what was it that we said? If you had 1,000 families that gave $1 a day, right, or 1,000 persons that gave $1 a day, however you want to do it, 1,000 families that gave $1 a day, and then you'll have $30,000 each month. By the end of the year, you'll have $360,000. You have $360,000 coming in. That's just specifically for building a community. What is it that we could not do? Right? We focusing on everybody else and everything that comes in between and what somebody calls themselves, and we're not looking at the principle. Charlie Kirk was used politically, and once they couldn't get any more out that lemon, they went ahead and threw it in the juicer to get the rest of it. And who cares what's done with anything after that? Who cares what happens to his family? How many persons who legit care about Charlie Kirk, how many of them have made sure that they've actually prayed for his wife and his children? Even if Charlie Kirk was your enemy, how many of us have legitimately prayed for his wife and his children? Because that's what we're called to do. Are we so enamored with the person that we couldn't just wait to go ahead and clown him rather than do what we're supposed to do? Because we're not supposed to be like the world, including the world that he was in, right? And he was of. We might not be of the world, but we're in it enough to know what goes on in it, even if we're not of it. And so being not of it, we should have prayed for him, right? And prayed at least for his family. I'm not saying we should have prayed for him to be considered to be great. We can't pray him into heaven. We can't pray his wife into heaven. We can't pray his children into heaven, but we can make sure that we do what's righteous. Yah, if nothing else, your prayer can be, Yah, let his will be done. See, when we talk like that, you don't get a bunch of amens. But that's law. I pray that Candace Owen gets her act together, and if she does the will of Yah, as soon as she repents, that Yah be able to bless her. That he be able to barak her, for those that don't want to hear the word bless. I do. But if she's doing wickedness and evil, she gets everything that's coming to her. Nothing wrong with that. That's prayer. That's Psalm. Have you ever read Psalms? Some of the Psalms that we love to talk about. Have you ever read some of those Psalms where it talks about those who are against you, let them go into pestilence, let the sword be upon them, let such and such happen to their tongues. But if they come into righteousness, we're thankful for it. This is word. You know, this is part of what you signed up for. Not just to look for and pray for the demise and the downfall of others. Who was it? Somebody the other day said something along the lines of, I don't pray, said that they were praying for somebody's downfall. I forget what that was. It was wild. It was crazy. It was like out of nowhere. How you doing, Elder Tamara? Somebody literally was talking about, I pray for someone, or I don't do anything but pray for such and such downfall. I forget who that was. And it was just like out of nowhere. And the person was somebody that a lot of persons don't like, but everybody immediately had a response like, yo, hold up. We out here praying for person's downfall. Not because they're doing anything, but I just don't. I dislike somebody that bad that I literally spend time. That's witchcraft. That's demonic, right? We don't have to dance on anybody's grave. See, somebody saw the title, thought this was going somewhere different. How you doing, Robert John Douglas? Thanks for being part of the community. Right. Just because Charlie Kirk did wrong, just because I believe Charlie Kirk to be racist, just because it doesn't mean I have a heaven or hell to put him in. He's in the compartment that he belongs in. It doesn't stop my life. It doesn't stop me from being what y'all called me to be either, though. The focus can't be so much on a person or an organization or whatever that we lose track of the kingdom. Right? Now watch this. For all of us who are going to make sure that we're part of boycotting whatever and not doing whatever for Christmas. By the way, if you follow the law, you shouldn't be doing anything for Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas anyway. That's not our culture. That's not the word. And it's something that's against us, and it's something that takes out your pocket. But watch this. For all those persons that are going to boycott, that's great. Now watch this. When you're taking your money and you're putting it where you're going to spend it, anyway, it's always interesting. We got to plan to boycott. What are we going to do with it? Is anybody going to come together and say, hey, you know what? Now that we have money, right? Maybe we can fast. You know what? Now that we got money for fasting because we're not eating so much, maybe we can actually put it into something that's going to benefit us. Or we're just going, oh, we're going to go ahead. See, we're using it to control. But nobody's asking. See, this is the part. And look, I get it. There's a black diaspora thing, so to speak, versus a Hebrew diaspora thing or a biblical diaspora thing, right? That being said, I'm not hearing many talks about we're going to use this for the storehouse. I'm not hearing many talks about the money that we just give to these corporations like Amazon and Walmart, et cetera. We're going to give them to the babies. I'm not hearing many persons talking about we're going to look for persons in our community who are actually strong in our communities, and we're going to look for persons in our city, in our state, right on our street. And if they're doing things that are strong for the community, we're going to build them up, and we're not going to stop it just because SNAP benefits are bad. Can I? All right. I'm not sure where this is going. I only got a few minutes left, so I'm gonna just share what Holy Spirit has. I'm trying to be nice about it. We don't have time. I can't dress it up tonight. Prayerfully, this is not offensive. If the shoe fits, wear it. If it doesn't, take it off. Look, the time has come for you and I to realize that we are. I'll say it. I'll use a term. I'm not trying to say this is only for men only. I'll use a term we're used to, that we are kingmakers. There's no such thing as a self-made anything. If somebody makes it, it's because a collective made that person. Right? The person did some work too, but we're collective, right? SOC is great. Hashtag find Kofi is awesome. There's a lot of stuff that persons can recognize me and everything. I don't make it anywhere close to what I make it if it's not simply even just for y'all tuning in, let alone a lot of the things that you guys sacrifice to make this stuff work. Right? That's the way family works. That's the way SOC works. That's the way business works. That's the way marriage works, etc. Right? There's not just, you might see one person. The quarterback might get credit. Tom Brady, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. He won how many? Was it 7? Right? 7 championships. Greatest quarterback of all time. Has a pretty decent teams and some pretty decent coaching too. Well, ever since Tom Brady's been gone, Bill Belichick couldn't blah, blah. Okay. But he didn't do it by himself. It wasn't 1 on 11. It wasn't 1 against, 45, 54. I don't know how many on the roster. Forgive me. Right. But he had, it was a team. Okay. What are we as a society going to do? And it cannot be led by the world anymore. All this great stuff that everybody's decided to do because of SNAP benefits and because of government shutdown and because of this and that. Why is it that we need the government to shut down before we say, maybe we can do something different? See, we don't hear about Charlie Kirk anymore, but after a little bit, you'll forget about the SNAP benefits too. By the way, this is not the first time the government shut down. You'll forget about the government shutting down. Like let you get some food in your belly again. Let things seem to go back to normal. Let you be able to go on C-SPAN and hear everybody argue, and all of a sudden that stuff won't matter anymore. If that's the gist, if that's the majority of what you're looking for, if that's your focus. Seek ye first the kingdom, though, and you'll start thinking kingdom in everything that we do. What can we do to allow the kingdom to seep into a place to where we're no longer thinking about what the world has to deal with, but we only deal with what our Father has, who owns all the cattle on on 1,000 hills. Excuse me. If he owns all the cattle on 1,000 hills, then why are we worried about when somebody doesn't give us a calf? They throwing us beef ribs, and we acting like we don't have access to cattle on 1,000 hills. And it doesn't say you have access to some cattle. You have access to all cattle because our Father owns all. And he says that you're a fellow heir with Christ, which means if Christ has access to it, you have access to it. Right? We haven't heard about Charlie Kirk lately because in the grand scheme of things in the world, he didn't matter. He was just a talking point to get you from one distraction to distraction to distraction. The same way that many persons live paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, many persons live distraction to distraction to distraction. Right? And they pay you well to be distracted. Well, they pay you enough so that you can keep living distraction to distraction. Even your paycheck is small enough just to distract you. Matter of fact, if you pay attention to the way that most of the stuff in the world is set up, it's just simply for you to look, eat, look at, taste, touch, smell, and what's the other one? And feel the distractions. That's it. There's too many things distracting us because we're looking from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other. Matter of fact, it is my plea. I'm not going to ask like it's not my plea because I love us. I love us all, right? I want you to catch this, right? I beseech you, therefore, brethren. Time is up. Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2, if you want to catch this. I beseech you, therefore. And by the way, those who know the Roman road, that's why he beseeches us. I beseech you, therefore, brethren. I beg of you, I plead with thee, brethren, family, SOC, Israel, kingdom of heaven. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies, because if it wasn't for Yah's mercy, forget all the stuff the government could or couldn't do. If it wasn't for Yah's mercy, we wouldn't have an opportunity to listen or be here or come together as a community right now. So I beseech thee, therefore, because of all these things that Yah's given us, brethren, by the mercies of Elohim, that we present ourselves a living sacrifice. Whether it's a fad, whether it's in style, whether everybody on social media, whether everybody in the job, whether everybody in our family agrees that we should go ahead and do this or not, we do what Yah says. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Elohim, that you present your bodies, that you present yourselves living sacrifices. And guess what? That means you must be one, alive, holy, also set apart, alive, one with him, holy, and able to accept this, acceptable, and able to be accepted, which is your reasonable service. It's only reasonable that we would serve in this capacity. And we do this, why? Not because we are conformed to the world, that we continue to try and be in one form or one opinion or have the same opinion as the world, but we do it to be what? Transformed by the renewing of our minds. And by the way, why does your mind need to be renewed? Why must your mind be renewed? Because your ways are not Yah's ways, nor your thoughts his thoughts. As high as Shemayim is from Aratz, as high as the heavens are from the earth, are your ways from his ways, our ways, mine included, our ways from his way. I'm sorry, our ways from his ways, and our thoughts from his thoughts. It's been a long time since you've been hearing about Charlie Kirk on a regular basis. Some of you didn't even care or know about who Charlie Kirk was till he got shot. All of a sudden, he became the biggest thing in your life. The Satan is crafty. Some of you never heard about such and such a drug or whatever until all of a sudden they got put in front of you. All of a sudden, we allowed it to become the biggest thing in our lives. Some of us never heard about men didn't need women and women didn't need men. Then we hear somebody on social media, all of a sudden it becomes the biggest fight of our lives. Distraction. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and I'm sorry, the kingdom of Elochem and all his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto thee. Amen. All right, we got to get ready. In about 20 minutes or so, we're going to have our project management meeting. If you'd like to be able to hear things that are going on, and maybe say, you know what, I could help out with such certain things that are going on, we'd love to have you on it. It's going to be put on Zoom, and we'll try to put the Zoom link out on Google Calendar invite. We'll try to make sure if I can, I'll try to text as many of you as I can. I will be off for the next couple of days. Doesn't mean we won't have Patreon at SOC University and some other things, but technically, as far as the live sessions, we will be off on Tuesday and Wednesday. Let's support Elder Tamara on Wednesday with her live session, of course. Let's look in different ways we can support one another. Keep looking for those things to get filled out and forms to be floating around as far as filling out your information again, so we can make sure that we update everybody's info in the system. Something else. Children will at least have Kung Fu start back up for homeschool classes that we were doing. The Kung Fu classes should at least start back up on Wednesday, 11 a.m. New York time. Tomorrow, we will have our graft-in sessions, new members, basically same just about as new members class. That'll be on tomorrow at 9 p.m. New York time. That'll be every Tuesday and Thursday for the next 3 weeks. And then Thursday and Friday will be Q&A. So so whether it be about the series that we've been doing, or whether it's just about things that you have in general, it doesn't have to necessarily be in the Bible per se, but we're going to give a biblical perspective. Or if it's a biblical question, it can be just about anything except for certain things that maybe it's not public information, and that's why we have some of these meetings off to the side. All right, but love you lots. Before I see you on Thursday, by the way, make sure that you're ready for Thursday Rising Prayer on the conference call at 7 a.m. New York time with Elder Anais. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry to a couple of persons that came in while we were ending. I don't know if I said shalom to Brother TJ. How you doing, Brother Craig? How you doing, Sister Kimberly? And I missed somebody else who came in. I'm not sure who it was. I think I missed somebody else who came in. But much love and respect to everybody. We appreciate the malachi and each and every one of you. As always, this has been Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant to Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time, but being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. We give our honor and praise to Yah. We give our honor and praise to him, my wife, the Honorable Maya, to the moderators, minister, and staff, SOC, and Lottie Dottie, and everybody. Appreciate you. And remember, family, that you are loved. You are necessary. You are majestic. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, take care. If I don't see you we don't see you this evening for the meeting, we'll talk to you again on Thursday. All right, shalom, peace, everybody. How you doing, Brother Keith? Take care, family. How you doing, Brother Alex? Take care. Peace. Shalom.